Really? 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 It's like he's supposed to start talking now. This is the part where you talk. Is this the part where I talk? All right. He nodded his head at me through the glass. So apparently this is the part where I start to talk. Ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages, congratulations. You have come to the Thursday episode of Student of the Gun Radio. Don't you feel better? And if you don't feel better, well, you will soon. So just close your lips and open up your ears and prepare to listen louder. How many of you guys liked our little photograph, our little picture that John Schmuck follows us, and John Schmuck sent us a little picture of someone listening louder, and so we slightly modified it, and we put the words "listen louder" in the website, and we put it up for you. What's going on over there, kid? You look like you're quizzical. You have a quizzical look on your face.
Yeah, I'm just drinking my coffee. I got the father one. She gave me the. There's
I am your father.
There's a secret message in there.
Yeah, what's up?
That's funny.
Where's she at?
I don't know. In the kitchen where she belongs.
Oh,
well, whatever. So
my coffee mug says Operation Iraqi Freedom.
This episode is 270.
All right. No, it's not.
I mean, we're in the 270s.
Yeah, we're in the 270s.
Yeah, 270s.
Right.
That's like a lot.
Yeah, thank you for water's cold, fire's wet.
No, I think that we should get like thank you cards on episode 300.
Wet.
Everybody should send us a thank you card on episode 300.
Oh, you mean we're closing in on 300? Is that what you were alluding?
That's where I was getting, yes.
He was alluding to that. Maybe we need to like have cigars and scotch or something. Johnny Walker and cigars for our 300th episode. That actually is kind of a milestone, is it not?
300.
Wow. That means we've been working. We've been busting our butts. Now, if you're a math magician out there, you could probably look at a calendar, figure out what day today is, and then figure out what day the episode 300 is going to be. Well, we are in the Glass Case of Emotion Studios. I am your host, Professor Paul Markel. If you're brand new to the show, you're probably thinking, what method of insanity is this? Well, you're about to find out.
The audio method.
That's right. You are about to find out. All right, kids. It's Thursday, and something that we're doing on Thursday, we started a new feature called I Talk to You, You Listen. And we're going to continue with this feature. You're just going to let that go?
Yes.
He is. He's just going to let that go.
Yes.
It's the new feature called I Talk and You Listen.
Yeah.
That is the new feature we have here on Student of the Gun Radio. I talk, you listen. This is how it works. No, it's the Student of the Gun homeroom segment, and it's brought to you by Cap Arms, CAPARMS.
You know what I almost did?
What?
We've got this awesome music intro that I have to pull up.
You do. You have that awesome music intro. Well, before we do that, let's. I want to hit on real quick the Brownells and SWAT fuel deal. We mentioned this. I believe it was on Monday or Tuesday. Maybe it was Tuesday. It doesn't really matter. But the fact is we did a little video. We've been thinking. We've been contemplating. The bug out bag, the go bag, the crisis bag, whatever. Everybody's got one, or if you don't have one, you're thinking about buying one, and things that should go in it, and the fact that there needs to be stuff in your go bag for you, for your body, to keep you going. It's not good enough just to have a bunch of ammo and what have you, and cool gadgets and flashlights and multi-tools. You actually want something in there to keep your body going, because let me tell you, as somebody who just recently was sick, if your body is down, it doesn't matter. When I was laying in a semi-coma state, it didn't matter how many guns were in the room with me and flashlights and tactical tools and what have you, because those things were just objects. They couldn't use themselves. I couldn't. Believe it or not, you can't just look at your gun and say, "Gun, go out and shoot." It needs you to be there with it. So one of the ways that we think is really almost like ridiculously obvious, and it's an idea that was so obvious that I was ashamed of myself for not having it brought it up a year ago, is that your SWAT fuel, 9mm plus P, 40 caliber multivitamins, those are things that you can and should store or stash in your bug out bag, in your crisis bag. Because if you're in a crisis, your body and your mind are going to be stressed out, and you want to give them a little something.
Dude, you know what I wish we had? I wish we had the SWAT fuel when we went up to Ohio and we slept out in the caves. That SWAT fuel would have been great. Because we filmed, remember we filmed?
The first time?
Yeah.
Because we did that twice, but yeah, the first time.
Yeah, when Zach was there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we stayed out there, and then we filmed the whole next day.
Yeah.
SWAT fuel would have been great.
So anyway, the point in all this is, you guys know that Brownells, if you don't, you go over to their website. They have a section on their website that they started about a year, maybe a little more than a year ago, called Emergency and Survival Gear. Okay, I guess it's going on 2 years now that they started that. Emergency and Survival Gear. And we thought, with our own little brains here in our own little university, that SWAT fuel would be a good addition to the Brownells Emergency and Survival Gear section. They don't currently stock it, but if you believe in SWAT fuel, if you believe in Brownells, and if you believe in helping out your fellow man, and I hope that you believe in helping your fellow man, or at least the fellow man that gets it, the one that's not an oxygen thief, go over to Brownells and just say, hey, man, especially if you're a believer, if you've tried SWAT fuel, if you use it, say, I've tried this, I've used it, this is good stuff, and I think you should consider it for the Emergency and Survival Gear section of your website.
You know what I find awesome?
What do you find awesome?
That there's a lot of people out there that they trust our integrity so much that they would endorse products, or they buy the products just based off of our endorsement, which I really appreciate. And if you haven't got SWAT fuel yet, you need to get it and try it. I believe he's got the sample packs up there on the store now at SWATfuelstore.com.
SWATfuelstore.com.
Don't quote me on that, but go there and look. I think that they're there. Just grab yourself a sample pack. Just try 2 of them.
But what if they're not there?
Then buy a bottle.
Yeah.
It's 1 month supply, and if you don't like it, which you will, then give it to a friend and they will like it.
Now, quick caveat though, you can't, the 9mm or the 9mm plus P, you're just like, well, all right, you look at yourself and you say, yeah, I really could stand to, drop 10 pounds. Okay, who couldn't? You can't just take it and then go sit on the couch or go take it. Now, the 9mm plus P will help you with clarity. You'll have a fresh brain. But if you really want to mix it up, you take it and then you actually go do something physical.
Yep. Physically fit.
Physically fit. But this isn't that day. Today is the Student of the Gun Homeroom Day. Do you have our homeroom bump? All right, well, bump me in, brother, and we'll talk.
What you gonna do when it all comes back to the place that you never wanted it to come back to? And where you gonna roll when the bottom drops out and you got no place to go? Who you gonna trust when trust is a must? You better roll with the rest of us. So pack your bags and all the faith you can, cause it's about ready to hit the fan. 2012, now about the re-election of an antichrist. You don't believe me, just look deep into the soul of the liar dies.
Woo! How many of you were not familiar with Come to the Ready from Madison Rising before this segment? Admit it, you weren't. And you're welcome. Thank you very much. Madison Rising, the most patriotic rock band in the United States of America. Check them out at MadisonRising.com.
Probably in the world.
In the world. Well, yeah, probably in the world. All right, the Student of the Gun homeroom topic for today is, what do you do with your gun when you're not wearing it? Good question. We talked about securing your guns at home, and people, there's myriad devices and safes and locks and things and all these things that you can do to secure your gun at home. And they're always looking and searching for a way. It cracks me up, It literally makes me do the RSO dog, the kind of like the, what did they just say? When these rapid safe companies, and they're like the best, they're the quickest way to access a gun at home is to buy the derp finger safe or the fingerprint safe or the punch button combination safe. That's the quickest way for you to secure and access a gun, to have a gun both secured but with rapid access. I have a gun that is both secured and I have rapid access to it right now. Guess where it is?
On your body.
It's attached to my body.
What's your rule? 3 seconds?
Yeah. No, well, it's Cooper's rule is 3 seconds, I think.
Okay.
That's Cooper's rule. It's not my rule. He said if you cannot reach a loaded firearm in the next 3 seconds, you've missed the point of this book.
Right.
You've completely missed the point of being an armed citizen. No, folks, wear your gun. Attach it to your body. If you're concerned about, well, man, when I'm moving around throughout the day, I'm at my home, and I need to secure my gun somewhere. Secure it by attaching it to you. That way, you'll always know where it is. I know it's like a crazy concept. You're like, what? But I'm not paranoid. I'm not paranoid like you, Paul. You're not paranoid like me, but you're going to spend all kinds of mental energy wondering, what's the best safe. And let's say that there was a super gee-whiz, high-techy safe that you could run up to, lay your hand on it, it would instantly read your fingerprints, and pow, a spring-loaded door would pop open, you grab your gun. Does that safe follow you around all day long? And you're like, no. So let's say you secure the safe next to your bedside. You're like, yeah, it's up on my bedside. So you get up, and I don't know what your house is configured like, but how many of you spend all day in the bedroom? All right. Some of you probably like to spend all day in the bedroom, but most of us don't.
I feel like I'm in high school.
So so you're downstairs in the den, and a group of local crackheads, you bang bang smash, and your front door comes smashing open because that's what they do. And you say, hang on a second, I'm in the study. I have to run upstairs real quick and access my gun in the Super Ninja safe that's attached to next to my bed. Or you could just take a deep breath, pull the gun out of the holster, and rinse, lather, repeat.
How many people nowadays do you think have studies? Most of them change them into a digital man cave, which is actually hurting their brain more than helping.
Yeah, that's right. But read a book. All right, so let's just say that for whatever reason, the gun's not on your body. What do you do with it then? Okay, well, in that situation, you're going to have to come up with a place to secure it. Now, when I say secure it, I'm not so much talking about the physicality of locking it down. And if you have small children, if you have people in your home that can't be trusted around guns, I'm very fortunate. I live in a home where everyone that is in that home can be trusted around guns. I could leave a loaded gun on the table and walk out of the room and know that no one's going to pick it up and look down the muzzle and press the trigger or anything stupid like that. But not everybody lives in that type of home. And I would say, number one, if you're allowing people into your home that you don't trust, why are they being allowed into your home? But I understand you invite the neighbor kids over, or your nephews and nieces or grandkids or whatever, and you're like, hey, I don't know. All right, well, rock on. You need to secure it in a physical location where they can't access it. What I will tell you is this: when I get home, I have the gun on my body. I wear it until I'm getting ready to go to bed, or changing out of my night clothes into my night clothes, what have you. I have and this is really, this is not meant as an advertisement for Crossbreed, but they have the bedside backup, and I take it out of the holster, put it in the bedside backup. Then I get up in the morning, I get dressed, I pull it out of that, and I put it on my body. There are different types of safes, but when it comes to the where is my life-saving tool, it should always be in a place that you can access it immediately and not have to hunt or search for it. And that is the main point of this topic. The gun always needs to be where you know it is. If this gun that's on my hip right now, if it were not to be on my hip, I would know exactly where it was. It's always one of two places. I don't ever have to think, hey, where's my gun today? Where did I stash that gun? And folks, how many of you do that? How many of you get in a habit of, I need to take this gun off, or I need to move this gun, or what have you, and you do the hasty stash? I'll hasty stash it on top of this shelf, or I'll hasty stash it on the fridge, or I'll hasty stash it in the glove compartment, or under the seat, or whatever. You do this hasty stash because for whatever reason you've decided you shouldn't have a gun on at that moment. And then you have to play either A, you forget all about it, and you find yourself thinking, hey, where did I leave that gun? That's not a good position to be in. Have you ever done that? Have you ever had that flash of panic moment where you realize that the gun is not attached to you, and you're thinking, where did I stash it? That's not a good thing, is it? No, it's not. We have to be responsible. We have to know where our loaded guns are all the time. So the question for today is, what do I do with my gun when I'm not wearing it?
We teased you guys earlier this week, but we're actually going to do it. We're doing our 20 questions today, as you noticed by the title, 20 questions with Student of the Gun. But we've got a bunch of questions in the voice box, 682-207-7684.
In the voice box.
In the voice box, yeah. That's pretty funny, because that's really what it's called.
The voice box.
Maybe they did that on purpose.
I bet that they did.
Yeah, they probably did.
It's crazy.
But if you want to call, leave a question. Any of these questions that we use are not going to be eligible for Warrior of the Week on Monday. So if you hear your question today and you still want to have a chance to be the Warrior of the Week on Monday, you need to call in and leave another intelligent question that is rehearsed. And you can call 682-207-7684 and leave that question. Yeah, Alex is going to greet you, and she's going to tell you exactly what you need to do to get or be eligible for the question.
Alex is going to do that?
Yeah, when they call in, it's her voice.
Aww, that's so sweet.
Are you okay over there?
Yeah, I got a
Is your brain hurting?
There's some stupid in front of me on my computer. That happens.
Did you open Facebook?
No.
Oh, I say every time. That's why I did that newsfeed eradicator thing, because every time I opened my newsfeed, I was getting tired of deleting people, so I just did that, and now I don't have to see a newsfeed. It's pretty awesome.
That's good.
Are you ready for the first question?
Yeah. Go ahead and throw it out there, buddy.
Good morning, Paul. Listening to Monday's program, and I'm the dummy that didn't put my name and address and stuff on the
You're not a dummy.
Warrior of the Week. I wanted to know whether a insurance policy for an attorney, if you're involved in a shooting incident, is a good idea, and if you have any groups that you would lean toward more than others, because there's a few of them out there, and they look like they're all about the same to me. But why spend that kind of money? I just want to make sure my dollar gets the biggest bang. My name is Bruce Brownlee. I'm in Fort Mojave, Arizona.
All right, Bruce. Yeah, that question comes up quite a lot. Should I? I can't tell you yes or no. I think it is prudent because the last thing that you want to be worrying about in the aftermath of a deadly force encounter is, who am I going to call? Am I going to lose my money? Am I going to lose my house? Am I going to lose my car? Am I going to go to jail? You want to address that beforehand. It's like writing a will. Nobody wants to write a will, but you do it, you put it away, and you've checked that box, and now you're good to go. And you're not going to need it until you do. Same thing with the insurance. I checked into that. The NRA has an insurance program. They have several, and most of these companies, they don't, like for instance the NRA themselves don't run it. They have an affiliate program, or they have a program that people they partner with. I think it is prudent. There are a lot of other companies out there. What you're going to have to do, the main thing for me is there an 800 number or an access number that I can call 24 hours a day? Because if they keep Monday through Friday office hours 9 to 5, that really doesn't help me a lot if it's Saturday night and somebody just tried to jack me in a parking lot and I had to shoot them. I got to wait till Monday to call you. That's not fun. So I would definitely look into it. I think it is prudent. Most of them, are relatively inexpensive. Now, when I say relatively inexpensive, they're not free. Nothing in this world is free. But you also have to think about, I'll give you a good example. What is my deductible versus what is my payment? You say, well, screw that. I'm not gonna buy that insurance. And you say, okay, great, because you say, well, it's $500 a year, $600 a year, or what have you, and I just don't have that kind of money. How much is it going to cost you to defend yourself, to get yourself out of jail or out of trouble if there's and you say, oh, I'm a good man, I'm a good person. Brothers and sisters, let me tell you what. Good men, good women, good people get jacked up by evil civil servants, people that are looking to make a name for themselves, Janet Reno and so forth, little Rahm Emanuel. You think that if you could be 100% justified and a political scumbag like Rahm Emanuel or Barry Hussein Obama, you think those people wouldn't sacrifice your life to make a political opinion? They absolutely would. Look at Jorge down there in Jorge Zimmerman down there in Florida. Jorge, I'm going to say this. In the aftermath, Jorge, I believe he was a registered Democrat voter. Do you not believe that is true, Jared? I think that was one of the things that came out. He was a registered Democrat voter and a legit minority, but that did not matter one bit to the political opportunists that tried to use him as a tool, that tried to destroy him to make a political point. So who's going to be there for you? And you don't want to be your own attorney. Trust me, you do not want to be your own attorney. I don't care if you asked an attorney would tell you, most attorneys that are intelligent, they would tell you they would not be their own attorney because you were too close to the situation to look at it. So think about it like this. All right, it's $25 to park in a secure parking lot in New Orleans, or you can park on the street. And you say, man, $25 is a lot to park in a parking lot. Well, if I park on the street and one of the local vermin smashes my side window and reaches in and just rifles through my car, what is it going to cost me? My deductible is, I don't know what our deductible is. I'd have to ask my wife, but it's probably around $500 for damage. So before the insurance company will even talk to me, I got to come up with $500. So pay the $25 to park in a secure lot where somebody's watching your car, or park out on the street and risk it. Now, most places in America you can park out on the street and risk it. New Orleans, not so much. Or Detroit, or Atlanta, or et al.
Any big city.
So, that, and that was my thought process when the guy's like, well, it's $25 to park in a lot. And I was like, yeah, my deductible's $500, so I'll go ahead and pay the $25 versus the $500. So that is my thought on that. Let's go ahead and get the next question.
Hi, guys. It's Lauren from Missouri.
Yay!
Professor Paul, do you have any dry fire exercises you would recommend? Thanks. And don't forget, you're a beginner once, but you should be a student for life.
Aw, the women are getting off the stick, and they're calling in. Well, Lauren, yes, I actually do have. I think, did that come across bad?
No, what's funny?
What?
Is that Google translated her thing and it said, thanks and don't forget to begin on lunch, but you should be a student for a wife.
That's how Google Translate texted that.
Yeah.
You begin on lunch and be a student for a wife?
Yeah.
Okay, then.
Okay.
Dry fire exercise. That is actually a great question. Everybody should be doing it. Dry fire is not for beginners. It's for professionals. You know that you could actually take the one-box workout, sans ammunition, and do that. You have to modify it a little bit, but you could take the one-box workout, and you could use that as your dry fire drill. One-box workout. Where can they get that?
I was just about to say, where can they get that?
I don't know.
They can get it from the Student of the Gun mobile app. If you download the mobile app on Google Play or on iTunes, you can get the one-box workout for free. You click on the Freeport button, and it pops up with a little PDF for you. It'll walk you straight through the one box workout. That's one box of 50 rounds of ammunition. Tells you exactly what to do to get the most out of your training.
Yeah. But as far as dry fire goes, if you're going to dry fire, you need to acknowledge to yourself that you're doing it very deliberately, that you're not just falling into this snapping the trigger habit, which some people will fall into. If you're going to dry fire, it should be a dedicated exercise. Take the live ammunition for the gun and put it in another room. Put it where you can't access it accidentally. And if you get distracted, I want you to clear your gun again. For instance, the phone rings, someone needs your attention, they need to talk to you, yada, yada, yada. We get so good at loading our guns and keeping them hot and ready that...
Pizza.
Hot and ready that often we just do it. And that's the way it should be, because you want to have a loaded gun on you, except when you're dry firing. So take the ammunition, clear the gun properly, and you say, well, do I need to put targets on the wall and so forth? You can, if you want to, if that makes you feel good. Sometimes people like to have something to shoot at or to dry fire at. But the fact of the matter is there's a fantastic drill. It's called the wall drill, and we demonstrate it in our live classes. And I learned it years and years ago, where you walk up to the wall, extend your gun out all the way out until you touch the wall, and then back off an inch. And then you continue to dry fire. And you say, well, that's silly, Paul. Why would I do that? Well, the reason you do that is it's a blank wall. So when you look forward, the only thing that you see, or should see, is your front sight. You have to, it's almost like you are forced to focus on your front sight as you press the trigger. And if you do this deliberately, you can focus on the front sight, press the trigger, and you'll know whether or not the front sight's shaking, dipping. If you press the trigger and all of a sudden the front sight disappears when you're dry firing, that's because you're anticipating recoil, or you're jumping on the trigger, or you're muscling the trigger, and you're upsetting the muzzle, and that's going to make your shots go wrong. So you can take the one box workout minus ammo and use that as a drill. You can do the wall drill. Those are two excellent ways to get some good deliberate trigger practice in. All right, thank you for calling, Lauren. We got the women who finally decided to pick up the phone and make some phone calls.
We've got more out there that haven't called yet.
Oh, I know we do.
I'm waiting for you. All right, next one.
Hi, this is Daniel in Georgia. I'm about to buy an AK from Century, and I need to know the pros and cons of milled versus stamped, and what your preference is. Thanks, guys.
Now, initially, I would have said the milled ones, and milled, that's where they take a piece of metal and then they put it in a machine and they cut it away. And the stamped ones, they just take a piece of stamp machine and they fold it up. Now, the import AKs, the stamped import AKs that we're used to, that have been coming into the country for 10, 20, 15 years, whatever, a lot of those, the big problem with them was the magazine wells were not quite right, or they were a little tight, and some of them could be really finicky when it came to magazines, installing a magazine and so forth, depending. And with the milled receivers, what you have is essentially a flared or beveled magazine well. And the great thing about, we talked about it on the radio, the magazines, doesn't matter whether it's a U.S. Palm or whether it's the old Tabco magazines or whether it's one of those waffle-type magazines that you get from East Germany or what have you, whether they're metal, whether they're plastic, whether it's the new Magpul ones, it loves them all. Every one of them, they just jump. It's like if you've ever used an old washer from like 20 years ago and then someone hands you a milled one, you're like, wow, that was so easy. I can't believe that the mag went in that quickly. It's amazing. But I will say with the American-made AKs, the tolerances are way better. The tolerances for the stamped AKs is way better than the Romanian and Yugoslav and what have you. So you don't really have that. That's not so much of an issue anymore. Weight is a big consideration. I think what is it, like 1.2 pounds. Was it 1.2 or 1.5, Jared? Something like that. The milled AKs weigh around 1.2 to 1.5 pounds more than a stamped AK. So if weight is a concern for you, you're like, oh man, I want it to be as light as humanly possible. If you want it to be as light as possible, buy the stamped one. That's that simple. If weight really isn't a consideration to you, especially if you're buying a pistol, if you're buying an AK pistol like a C39, it's not that the weight isn't that much. If you're buying a full-sized rifle, it might be. But both of them, whether it's the 100% made in the USA, the C39, or the V2, or the RAS-47, I think it's the RAS-47 is the stamped one. Any of those should do you. They should treat you very, very well. One final thought on stamp versus milled is if you plan to buy accessories for them later, accessories are made, triggers, safeties, stocks, all that stuff. Their pistol grips aren't really a big deal. But you may have to buy dedicated accessories, like some trigger groups or extended safeties or what have you are made specifically for stamped guns, not milled guns. Some stocks, stamped guns, not milled guns. So that is a consideration. All right, Jared, give us the next question.
Hey, Paul. This is Shane from Salt Lake City, Utah. My wife is new to guns and wants to be prepared if she is attacked. She has her concealed weapons permit but does not carry. What kind of training should she get first? Self-defense with a firearm or self-defense without a firearm? She actually asked me this a few minutes ago. So thanks, guys. Great show. Bye.
All right, step number one, the reason that she has a self-defense or she has a permit but doesn't carry is because she does not have confidence in her skills and her skills to use that firearm. So she needs to get to a class, and not you. You probably, but you're a student of the gun, so you know that. Men can't teach their wives. It just does not work. Boyfriends should not be teaching girlfriends. You can do it, but you shouldn't. Get into a class. Where did he say he was? Arizona? No, Utah. Salt Lake City, Utah. Awesome. Because I talked to your Uncle Dave, and Dave's going to be in Tucson this week doing a tactical response class in Tucson, Arizona. Yes. Because they have a mobile training team, so they get all over the country now. But yes, get your wife into a solid 2-day fighting handgun, fighting pistol type class, and she should come out on the other end with a lot more confidence in her own abilities, and that will translate. Confidence translates to carry, and it's a good thing. Now you do want to, as you heard yesterday, if you listened to yesterday's episode, you definitely want to have something else or something in addition to, but if you're, we've talked to people before. They're like, oh yeah, I got a concealed carry permit, but I don't really carry because, well, I don't want people to think I'm paranoid and so forth. Well, the reason you're not carrying is because you don't have confidence in that gun, and you don't have confidence in your own ability. So you need that. You need to know that you're going to do it right. So yeah, that's what I would do. I would say get her into a class, get her into a fighting pistol, fighting handgun class, and after that, find some type of a training program that you can go to occasionally, or on a weekend or a seminar or something that deals with what to do when your hands are empty. I hope that answered your question. Next one.
Hello. Hey, I always carry with the bullet in the chamber, but when I get to work, I have to unload my weapon and put it in a locked box inside my locked car. If I do this every day over a period of time, will the bullet that goes in and out of that chamber become unreliable? Thank you.
The short answer is yes. Okay. Ken Hackathorn did an excellent article on that very situation probably 20 years ago. Holy crap. It's been a while. When Ken was writing a column for American Handgunner way back when. And he basically dealt with, he had a lot of cops that were doing that thing. And the reason that they found out it was a problem was because cops were having first shot malfunctions. And they're like, what in the world is going on? Why are these cops having first shot malfunctions? That's a SIG, it's a Glock, it's a whatever. That shouldn't be first shot malfunctioning. And so he looked into it, and what a lot of guys were doing is that exact thing. They popped the magazine, set it down on the bed, jacked the round out, stuff that round back to the top of the magazine, next day, reload it, do it over and over and over again. And so what Ken did is he said, first of all, stop doing that. Stop chambering, unchambering, chambering, unchambering, chambering, unchambering all the time. Now, with your specific situation, you said that I have to unload it and put it in a locked box in my car. Are you being inspected? Is someone watching you as you do this? Does someone verify that you have unloaded your gun before you put it in the locked box in your car? Because if the answer is no, stop fiddling with it, because you're going to end up having an ND inside your car. Don't fiddle with guns inside cars. This is why these policies that make people disarm themselves constantly are dangerous. The policies that force you to disarm yourself are dangerous because you end up administratively handling guns when you otherwise wouldn't be. You know, I'm sitting in a chair in a radio studio with a gun on my hip, and I'm able to function perfectly well. And if I had to, every time I came in here, take the gun out and handle it, put it somewhere, put it back in, most negligent discharges don't happen whether on the range when you want to shoot or in the real world when someone's trying to harm you. Negligent discharges primarily occur when people are handling guns when there was no other reason to handle them. But yeah, if you have to do this, let's say you're that guy and you just like, I've got it, Paul. I have to do that. Well, this is what you need to do. Ken came up with a solution. He called it the loading magazine. And when he would take the round out of the chamber, he had a single magazine set aside all by itself, and he would put that round into that magazine and set it aside. And he could eyeball it and compare. That way the chambered, unchambered round didn't get mixed in with the rest. And he could take it and he could eyeball it and compare it. If you the 45 ACP cartridge it's easy because you can put it right up to another 45 ACP cartridge. And when I read that article, I started more closely monitoring my own guns and how I did it, and I would notice that. I would notice like, wow, that cartridge, the chambered cartridge, the chambered, unchambered cartridge, that actually looks like it's, you know, a 16th, a 32nd of an inch, whatever, shorter than the other one. And what happens is the bullet gets compressed, it gets pushed down into the case, and it creates an overpressure situation. Sometimes it'll actually get pushed down so far that it will bulge the case, and then you get a stuck case situation. And this works to your advantage. Sometimes I actually had a brand new piece of ammunition where it had been overloaded, and I didn't realize it, and I had dropped it. It was training ammo, and I pulled it out of a box, and, you know, I went to chamber it, and it wouldn't chamber. I was like, what the F? So I pulled it out, and I was like, whoa, that is a problem. So, yes, the answer is chambering and rechambering a cartridge over and over and over again will eventually damage it, or it'll put it in a situation where it could cause a malfunction. I don't know about you, but I don't want to start my gunfight out with a malfunction. Now, I feel confident in my ability to fix the gun and drive on, but if I have to skin this Roscoe out and put it in my hand and point it at a human, I already have enough problems without worrying, is this gun going to go click after the first round? So, yeah, that is the answer to that question, and I hope that helped you out a little bit. Now, before we get any farther, because I see we're already 39 minutes into it, let's go ahead. We acknowledge our friends at SWAT Fuel and Brownells already. Cap Arms is the sponsor of the homeroom. Duracoat, yeah, that's right, Duracoat, where you can get Duracoat from Brownells. Duracoat products, because life is too short to have an ugly gun. Crossbreed holsters, that's what I'm wearing on my hip right now at this very second. I have the Caitlyn Jenner Special, or also known as the Super Tuck Deluxe. The Velocity triggers are our friends at Velocity Triggers, so check those guys out. Am I missing anybody yet there, Jared? Let me see, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I feel like I'm missing one. Oh, Century, duh, but we already talked about Century Arms. So there you go. And don't forget to use the SWAT Fuel promo code SOTG2015. And Velocity triggers, what are they designed for, Jared?
They are designed for precision.
That's right, and you can find them at velocitytriggers.com. All right, give me my next question.
Gentlemen, this is Jeremy from the Florida Panhandle, and I happen to be a retired Chief Master Sergeant pararescueman. Now, I'm no doe-eyed groupie, but Student of the Gun has not steered me wrong. From my crossbreed mini tuck with horsehide holster, horsehide leather, to my Aries belt, to books like Dynamic Freedoms and Patriot Fire Team, and my new favorite, Face of the Patriots, all the way to nutritional tips like the magic that is SWAT Fuel's 9 Plus P. My question is, what critical piece of advice would you give to a fellow sheepdog who wants to establish a shooting range and schoolhouse? Keep the faith, gentlemen. Fight for the good fight.
Lots of money and Valium. Lots of money and Valium. No, on a completely serious note, it is depending on where you live. First of all, look at the county you're in. If you're in a very populous county, if you're in like a 200,000 county or 250,000 people in your county, the chances of you getting a new range opened are really slim. You're like, well, come on, what does population have to do with that? Well, the more people you're around, the more bureaucrats you have, the more people with their hands out that want a piece of the pie, the more people there are to tell you, no, you can't do that. I'll give you a great for instance. Where we live is we're not that large of a county, but a company or six investors dumped like $3 million into this idea of creating a shooting wonderland.
It was a pretty good idea.
They had a sand table, model of the trap and skeet ranges and the rifle ranges and the pistol ranges, and they were going to do camper hookups, and they were going to do all this stuff. They're going to call it Range 53. And they showed me their sand table model and their brochures and the artist rendering. And I said, well, great, let's go out there. Oh, no, we can't go out there. Well, what do you mean we can't go out there? Oh, no, there's nothing there. It's just empty land right now. Okay, what are we waiting on? Oh, well, we've got to, blah, permit this, permit that, but it's all underway. It's all in the works. They told me, oh yeah, we're getting people interested. We're signing up members. We need 500 members. I'm like, whoa, slow down, Sparky. Long story short, these guys put $3 million. And I'm not trying to depress you, but this is the fact. They put $3 million of their investor money into this project, and they never moved one shovel of dirt. As soon as they announced in public that they were going to put this shooting range and training facility in, as soon as they did that, it became public record, and all the little grannies and Susies are like, I don't want a shooting range in my neighborhood. People will die. Think of the children. And the ninnies and a-holes, so between the ninnies and a-holes crying and whining, and the bureaucrats like, well, it's easier for us to say no than yes, they did not get their permit. They wasted years and tons of money. The best thing to do is to go way out in the middle of nowhere where nobody cares about anything. Where you all right, so that happened, but at the same time, our good friend Mike built the Mississippi Combat Training Academy out in the buffer zone, in the Stennis Space Center buffer zone, and the nearest building to his range is 15 miles?
Yeah.
The nearest occupied structure to Mike's range is 15 miles away. So nobody's there to hear about the noise or what have you. I think there's some hunters that complain that they make too much noise during hunting season on the shooting range. Hunt somewhere else. But I would say, if look where you're at, first of all, and if you may. Indoor ranges are great because you can soundproof them and you can put them in the middle of a city. But at the same time, if you have somebody on the council that is an anti-gun person, they're going to dig their heels in. The EPA is going to come in. They're going to where's your HEPA filters, and it's going to cost you a pretty sizable penny. It's going to cost you a lot. So if you really want to do it, and if you think that where you live that your fellow shooters are being underserved, rock on, dude. But I can tell you this, it is a massive undertaking. Opening up a range, especially a public range, is a massive, massive undertaking. If there was, most of the time it's airport rules. If it was there already, it's easy to keep. It's easy to have one that's been there for 50 years or 20 years or 30 years. It's hard to put a new one in. If you find yourself in a situation where you're really stuck, or you want to do it, or you NRA, the NRA ILA, or I think, one of the shooting organizations has a thing called a place to shoot. And it's about
wheretoshoot.com. Wheretoshoot.org.
No. It was
It's wheretoshoot.org. Is that the range thing?
No. It's not a rangefinder. It was basically helping people establish and open ranges. But I can't think of it off the top of my head right now. I hope that didn't depress you. Thank you very much for your endorsement of everything that we do. We truly appreciate it. And the clock on the wall says it's time for me to shut up, because we actually already went 2 minutes beyond where we were supposed to. And we went way long yesterday. So, ladies and gentlemen, thanks. I know there weren't actually 20 questions.
There are in the box. We just couldn't
there's 20 questions in the box. We're just going to have to get to some of them next week. All right, kids, have a good weekend. And for all of you grad program people, I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. If you want to be one, go to studentofthegunradio.com and sign up, and you can be one. And you can do it for 30 days for free.
And even if you're not a grad program member, go to iTunes, subscribe to Student of the Gun Radio. Google's releasing podcasts soon, so you guys are going to be able to get us on Google Play. Go to studentofthegun.com. Check out the store, check out the blog, check out all of our stuff. You can branch out. Go to the hub, studentofthegun.com, branch out from there. If you haven't got the training tips yet, click the orange button, get 7 training tips that could save your life.
Bingo. Talk to you later, hippies.